G'day and welcome back to another episode of Backyard Automotive Down Under. Today we're looking at a VR V8 Holden Statesman. It will be the same for all the different models like Commodores and such. The problem was battery stopped charging. As the battery stopped charging, the owner decided to replace the battery and the alternator himself, and found that the problem was it still wasn't charging. So he did what he could and eventually bumped into me and asked me if I could have a quick look at it. So here's the dirty little secret, just one piece of wire. Sure, the first thing you do is you check all your earth connections and make sure there's no corrosion or any other easy to fix little things. This side of the tool is for cleaning the battery itself. The other side of the little brush is for cleaning the cable connections. But this one had me a little bit baffled because I'd fitted alternators which were working but just would not work in this car. And I'll show you a little test bench that I made up. Just for testing alternators. I'll explain how they work, but in the meantime, I remember when I did my 1-tonner conversion to a 304 V8, that the wiring was a little bit strange. Looks like what they've done is they've used the V6 wiring harness, and to make it work on the V8, they've added this extra little bit of wire which has got this joiner on it. Now you may be able to see how badly burnt this wire's been. It's gotten pretty hot and it's all because you can't see, but there's a lot of corrosion inside this crimp fitting. It's not soldered, it's just crimped. And obviously it's seen better days, so it doesn't matter how well you clean all your earths and everything, if the supply wire isn't any good. Now the symptoms were basically you'd fire it up and the light would go out, and then shortly thereafter it would come back on again. Or if you drove the car and you hit a bump, it would go out. And in particular, once everything warmed up, then the battery light stayed on constantly, and basically just didn't charge. When we put the multimeter across it, it was about 12.5 volts before you started it, and it was 12.5 volts when you started it and ran it. So there was no charge happening. Now, as the other guys in the videos might tell you, check all your earths and make sure your battery terminals are clean and all your connections are good. There's no burnt wires visible. You know, this one wasn't visible because this one's in the harness and it's not real easy to get to, but I'll show you. So once you've checked all the other bits and pieces, also make sure that the battery warning light bulb is also working, that it's not blown, because with some of these alternators they actually require the bulb and the circuit that the bulb is in to excite the diode, which kicks in the regulator and gets it charging. So it could be as simple as just a blown bulb in the dash. I've seen that before. So make sure the bulb's in working order, and then if you're still having the problems, look at replacing this wire. Now this is the wire that goes from the B plus on the back of the alternator, and it travels across the motor to the battery, where it gets divided up. One's for charging the battery and the other one sneaks off to the fuse box and connects to the 60 amp main fuse. So at the end of the day, there's another junction that could cause a problem. In this case it wasn't, so I didn't have to do anything about it. But when you're looking at the back of these alternators, just in case you newbies out there, you're wondering what wire goes on the W terminal on the back of an alternator. Well, the W terminal is there to operate a tacho. So if you ever need to fit a tacho to your car, the tacho feed will come off that W terminal on the back of the alternator. So it's quite simple. The brown wire on the alternator goes to the dash warning light, and the white wire goes to the battery, supplying constant power to the alternator at that time, and that just tells the regulator how much voltage is in the battery and whether or not to start charging the battery. So here's a few other little pictures and videos, so enjoy, and I hope this gets you out of trouble if you're experiencing the same problem. Typical old Holden, it's got water leaking in when it rains, so I've got to try and find out where the water's coming in. Got a suspicion it might be leaking through the windscreen, but I'll have a look around and I'll document that as I go, so we find out what the problem is.
So is that happy snaps or video?
This is a 304 out of a VT Commodore with a roller cam, and it's the motor out of my FB wagon, which is still currently going under a restoration process, and I'll be taking you through some of the steps of what we had to do there. Had to install rack and pinion steering and collapsible steering column and power brakes and all sorts of things to make it street legal and roadworthy. So we'll cover some of that a bit later.